What is up, guys? H19 back with another video. Today we do have a guest, but before we get to him, I just want to quickly go over. Don't forget, follow us on IG to get it behind the scenes. I post stuff on my story a decent amount. I do got to create some more posts, but yeah, give a follow and look forward to more stuff on that. But huge thing over here, RBT Chicago 2025, hosted by Metaphos, Sackbase, and yours truly. And of course, thanks to the platform E3 Yu-Gi-Oh built, we are able to host what is going to be the best tournament of the year. But yeah, today our special guest is Red Gadget. Would you like to say hi?
Hi everyone, it's a pleasure to be here, and yeah,
Yeah. So what did you do this weekend?
I was third at Ultimate Time Wizard Birmingham. It's crazy. I cannot believe that this is actually a thing. Like, I've been grinding the format, and I've convinced myself that I'm somewhat decent. But like, I feel like this is like going 9-2 at like the most, what is essentially one of the most competitive events when it comes to Ultimate Time Wizard, and Edison is still crazy to me, and it's unreal. And the Goyo is like so. Yeah, I won the Goyo, and it's so fitting because I play Blackwings and I like make it with Blizzard all the time, and it's kind of cool. So yeah.
Yeah, awesome, great stuff. I remember when we were in Italy for YCS Bologna. Uh, I was actually quite impressed on how you ended up performing overall. Like, I know like it wasn't the best start for you, but you finished that tournament very strong, and I'm sure uh, that momentum eventually led to this event, which got you all the way to third place. And if you guys haven't
Yeah.
done so already, give Red Gadget a subscribe on his YouTube channel over here and check out his profile where he goes into some more details. We are going to talk about his deck a bit, which I have loaded up over here on DB. Uh, but yeah, I mean, how was your overall tournament experience?
Yeah, so I've traveled there with some friends that play advanced, so I didn't have anyone kind of to test with the day prior in the hotel, but I felt pretty confident because I have been like on a win streak on DB, and then I played the locals in my town a few days before that I won, and so like I had like a huge win streak with similar deck, if not exactly the same one before. So I felt confident in the deck. And yeah, I joined the tournament the first day. It was yeah, so we start after, like as you might have noticed in Bologna when you were there, like we start pretty late. So we had 3 rounds day one, and then 5 rounds day two. So the first day, 3 rounds, I won. So I was pretty confident going into day two.
3-0,
And
right?
yeah,
You were 3-0.
3-0 exactly. Yeah, I was 3-0 against Vayu Turbo, Blackwings, and Fishborg Frogs. And then day two, I played. I needed 4 wins. So at the end, I was 4-1. I lost the last round of Swiss to a mirror really, really fast. Like I feel like that game was never meant to be won by me, and it was good because either one of us would like both of us would top. So we were actually debating maybe just drop the game and go eat or something. But yeah, and I just got mirrored swiftly, and it was a pretty
Yeah, and good thing
chill
you
game.
didn't end up doing that because Konami doesn't like when people just fix games and stuff like that. So smart choice by you guys.
Yeah, we decided to play it out regardless. Yeah, I mean, we were also discussing it might not be the best, and it's a mirror, probably will end fast, so we still have time, and that's why we did it. But yeah,
Great. So overall your record was 7-1, and I know you
in Swiss.
in Swiss, yes. In Swiss you were 7-1, and you won top 8, lost top 4, but then won the third place match, correct?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
were your
exactly.
top
So
8 matchups?
for the top eight, so the top eight match was Fishborg Frogs. I won that 2-0, and yeah, I mean, I feel like I know the deck very well because on my team we have Adam Sheck, which he's a Newcastle fork player. So I've been a little bit discussing with him. He's also a relatively new addition to the team, so we haven't had much time to test, but I have got some reps in, and I kind of understand what the deck is doing and what it's trying to do and how to counter it. So I did win that 2-0.
How did you end
Uh,
up countering it? Because I'm curious myself. I've been talking about this Fishborg deck and how it has potential to change the meta alongside with the Gigavice deck. So basically, these two very powerful combo decks. Obviously, you beat one of them. How did you do that?
So for me, I mean, from the top of my head, it's very hard to say, but I just cite in a lot of hate. So, for example, here I would cite in the oppressions, the deck devs. Depending on if they're on the Caius build, that they go put Caius as post side, pulling might be the option. But if they're like, so it's also a case of knowing if the person is a part of which playtest group and what kind of builds they're on, right? So I think I did put in pullings. Top eight, but I played Fishborgs again for third place, and I didn't put in pullings, for example. So that's something to consider. But then, of course, two DD Crows here on the left, really important. And then we have a Fossil Dino. But basically, what I tried to do with that deck is like make sure I don't put monsters in attack without like a lot of back row, so they can't like Colossal Armory arm. It's like there's a lot of things to consider, and sometimes I like to set up Mistworm somehow. It's really hard to have like a silver bullet solution for them. But if I think if you get enough reps in, you could try to like aggro them, and then you will see that this deck is, if you aggro them and they don't have combo, it works out. You set the pressure and you set something. But if you don't have a lot of follow up or a lot of like unfair cards against them, it's really hard.
Okay, very nice. So you played it in top eight, and for your third place match, what did you play uh, on your top four match?
Top four, I played Machina Control, like Machina Turbo, Machina Control, the ones with Hamster Echo Caius. But that deck was like built to counter Blackwings essentially. Like he told me he's on like two trap stun, two road main. So game one, I just like ran into a road, and like it was just like downhill from there. And it was really tough. And game two, I mean, this deck is like in general a bad matchup for my deck. And then on top of that, like we were grinding and it was going fine, and he was like on two cards, and I was on Sirocco deck dev on field, Vayu in grave, and like something else in hand. So and he was on two cards, and then he goes Avarice. Um, I go chain a deck dev, which I talked to some people after to Rognak as well after the tournament. That might have been a misplay, but I wanted like to knock him out when like and see what he draws. But it's also debatable because yeah, I'm not sure now exactly the circumstances. But anyway, I chained the deck dev, so I have a value play, and then he draws like Gear Frame Torrential, summons Gear Flame, blah blah. Next turn, top decks another Gear Frame, and I was just out of the game. It
Yeah,
was just
very
very
unfortunate. I
unfortunate.
understand that matchup is very, very tough. But at least we brought it back on that third place match, and you ended up getting that Goyo. Were there
Yeah.
any cards in your deck that you say were very, very important to your tournament run? Whether it be just overall performance of a certain card or good against a certain matchup?
Yeah, that's a very good question actually. I think Judgment for me, I would have to say, was the MVP kind of, because it's such a strong card when you're putting your opponents on the clock, and when you see this card, you can just go do insane things. You can just make plays like protected. You don't have a single care in the world. Like, and if they have like two back rows, like it happened so many times. For example, that um like if they have two back rows, right? Like one of them might be like a deep prison, and then they have a monster. So you go I attack, and like with Shura, they go deep prison, I judgment, and then like I kill them with the next card, or like I drop Kalut on something. Like a lot of unfair stuff can come out of just having judgment set and making sure that like your plays go through. Because yeah, the deck is very fragile. It's like very, very powerful, but it can be very fragile. And when it gets to do its things, it does it very unfairly. So this judgment's like the ultimate protection, I feel.
Yeah, very well said. I know one of our local players over here, a legend in the game, really, Marcus Hayden, also known as Metaphos. Again, he is one of the people
He got
hosting RBT. He just got third place as well over at YCS Orlando. And one of the important keys that he mentioned was also Solemn Judgment and how it is really a checkmate card, which is
Yeah.
essentially what you described.
Yeah, I would definitely agree. I would and I saw that he got third place in Orlando, and yeah, congratulations to him as well. And yeah, Judgment is just insane. Like if it was at three, I would play three, no doubt. In fact, it would be easier to make a deck because a lot of these are not flex spots. So I would maybe even cut Yaras and the pressure and just play three of these and then something else. Like it's really really strong.
Yeah, I mean, very much so. I mean, I know I personally have not been the biggest fan of the card, opting to only cite it in the past. But I mean, I like the way Marcus describes it and the way you describe it, and it's definitely something that I consider going forward, especially since I just played Marcus's deck for War League essentially. Like we submitted this. I
Same
basically
list.
submitted his list for the first week, and it didn't come in too important in my match, but I'm definitely open to it myself. Anything else you'd like to say about your tournament uh, or your deck or anything?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, two things. Like first, I would like to maybe discuss the oppression choice and the draw trap choice. And yeah, so for example, like this ties into the philosophy I had going into the tournament. In fact, this list I sent you is like the Birmingham list, but in fact, in my DB, it's called like Birmingham 3 because I had three lists that I was debating on. And maybe it was slight foreshadowing that I got the third. Maybe if I played the first list, I might have been first. But anyhow, so yeah, this list was the one which I felt was the one with the most cards that are alive all the time. So what does that mean? Like I really didn't want. I wanted the no excuses list because for myself personally, I don't feel like I'm a good like deck builder and things like that. I'm really focusing on like technical play and trying not to misplay. Like because I'm still relatively new to the format and I felt like very unproved. Like I didn't prove my skill yet, so I didn't want to try something new. And then if it fails, I have an excuse, right? Like I wanted something. Okay, I want all the cards to work. I want something pretty stable, pretty concrete. And then if I lose, it's 100% on me and it's not on some like anti synergies that like sometimes work, sometimes don't. And I'm sure this works for very good players all the time. And it's a very, very good strategy to sometimes have cards which are not synergetic, but are very broken individually. But I felt like in Bologna, I got kind of basically hurt by playing deck dev main oftentimes when it was dead, and I felt bad after that. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna do that this time. Draw traps and oppression. Oppression's always good. I got sacked by a lot of players just flipping oppression on me, even in the mirror in all kinds of scenarios. So I was like, oppression's really strong into everything, especially going into frogs. But that was secondary in my head, and yeah, so that was the idea behind the whole deck essentially. And I'm a really big fan of Raikos. I was maining Raikos before, but again, no excuses. Put it in the side, play the standard list, and that's why I also put the Mindcon and Raiko in there. There was a list. I think Birmingham 2 had these two mained. So these two mained, and then like oppression cut and one draw trap cut. I think that was the idea. But then I was having something else in the side. I don't remember. It opens up to like okay, oppression goes in the side, but then one more side slot opens. But anyhow, I went with this list. Yeah, again, no excuses. This was the idea. So Raiko and Mindcon performed really well. Like I remember actually. Okay, I'm just a sacker. Like I kind of like special Sidra against Vayu Turbo. I sided in going second. I really like it. I special Sidra. I go Mindcon take Raiko, flip Raiko, pop back row, mill three darks like to make my dad live that I drew. It was like the second turn. Okay, so it's kind of sacking, but
Yeah, that's
in
kind of
any
nuts.
case, like that's kind of nuts. But yeah, like Mindcon and Raiko's perform really well. Like even without the mill three, that make that live. So yeah, I would say that's pretty much standard. Again, Mistworm. I played Mistworm. I've been kind of on Mistworm for the longest time, and I think it's just strong into the boards that that these like combo decks put up. Now I'm not sure. like against Titanial, maybe not okay, maybe not into Gigavice, but definitely into Frogs, into Forgs and Fishborg. Yeah, like all the Fishborg decks. So I think Mistworm might be the move going forward, and I didn't miss the second Armor Master. But besides that, I think that's mainly that's mainly the list. It was pretty kind of it's pretty standard and no excuses. That I would like to kind of drive this point home because I wanted to say, okay, if I don't misplay, I should do well. If I misplay, I should do bad. All the other choices, they are not relevant for me for this tournament, especially if I travel, if I pay money. Okay, again, like I really wanted like okay, something that everyone can look at and say this deck is strong. It might not be the biggest meta call, it might not be like some teched out thing, but like this deck is strong and the good players should do well.
Yeah, very,
Yeah.
very well said. I know I mentioned Marcus before. He is a firm believer of that philosophy as well. Uh, I know I personally have taken a more deck builders uh, view at the game, where I try to tech out my decks. However, I'm not having much success myself. So I mean, you and Marcus have proved that having a solid list with very solid gameplay leads to good results. I would like to congratulate you with that.
Thank you.
And I mean, I guess well, there really only leaves a couple things. I mean, one question, kind of more like a fun question I have for you is, are you are you deciding to keep the Goyo or are you going to move it? What is the plans for that?
Okay. The plans are to keep it because I'm not gonna lie, this is kind of a big thing for me. Like I feel really really good about this third place. Even after I remember being so happy like making top cut. Like after that I was not like I was not even stressed basically. Like I was really really happy about that, and I was um yeah, like going into the tournament, I just imagined myself like in the top cut and like imagining how it would feel. And so it actually happened, and I feel really really good about it. And I don't feel like I feel like if I sell it, it would kind of like money. Again, money is great, but that like I feel like this memory is a lot more important in this part of life. Maybe like in a few years I'll forget about this and then I might sell it, or who knows what might be the case. But I feel like right now I really want to like have it in my room and look at it and admire the hard work I put in.
Yeah, I mean, again, huge congrats. Any shout outs you'd like to give before we end this?
Yeah. I would like to shout out the first of all my group of friends I came with from Switzerland. Yeah, they're modern players. They don't really follow the scene, but shout out to them. We had a fun time. I would like to shout out Diamond Dogs, the World League team that I play with this season, and I would like to shout out everyone I met at the YCS. All the people were really cool. All the people were really kind. We just had a fun time. There was no like yeah, nothing bad. Just a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh and a bunch of jokes. And yeah, all the people I know from online and from in person that I saw. That's pretty much it. Yeah, and yourself as well.
Oh, thanks. And then I would also, again, want to shout you out. Uh, your YouTube channel right here, Red Gadgets. Give this guy a subscription, and I mean, awesome content. A lot of stats, a lot of videos. Uh, I'm a huge fan. I've been a fan of his content, so but now he has a nice big result with him, and uh, I really appreciate you taking the time, especially right after the tournament on short notice. Uh, and yeah, I mean, I think this is a banger. Again, appreciate it.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, and I'll catch everyone in the next one. Peace.